Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 162 of the Hoots podcast. It's Thursday, June 27, 2019, aka CM Punk Vegas Pipe Bomb Day. It's not the only pipe bomb this young man delivered in his career. So I want to get that out of the way real quick. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name's Joshie. You can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast and on Instagram at Joshie Lopez 94. On today's show, we have a lot to get today. We got Stomping Grounds to talk about. We got a new edition of the Thoughts of Jericho that you heard already in the beginning of the show. And also, we got a little surprise in the beginning part of the show through the eyes of a 9-year-old, since that's the actual segment that people want to hear. We're going to give it to you right off the bat. So not only am I joined by Adam Daley, we're joined by AJ. How's it going, guys?
I'm doing good. How are you? I am very excited to get on the list of Jericho, probably for a 10th time. Yes.
I'm gonna let you take care of my light work.
Yes, and then I also got two bands that I will talk about today that are on Rowan's shirt. I got two because I almost couldn't handle the one, but I still went with it. But I went with two. So.
Have you found a good band yet, or no?
Oh, yes, I have. You would just have to wait till the end, okay?
Okay. I'll wait.
I know some people that listen to Gojira.
Yes.
Right.
But you're not supposed to spoil it, so.
Okay.
Back.
All right. Sorry.
All right.
You're on the list of AJ.
Oh, boy.
Whose list aren't I on?
I'm kidding.
All right, some quick business things really quick before we get to AJ's segment. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel on Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend about the show. And if you ever have any questions or suggestions for myself or Adam, please hit us up on social media. Only if you're not a Nimrod, okay? I have no time for energy for assholes. Let's just keep it simple as it is, all right? All right. So, AJ, what do you want to start off with? Questions or your feelings about this week's edition of the Thoughts of Jericho? What do you want to start off with?
We will start off with this week's edition of the Thoughts of Jericho. And then after that, we will talk about the Firefly Funhouse because there wasn't one.
Right.
But we did see Abby the Witch, didn't we? We saw her on Raw.
Did you see the dancing pig in SmackDown or no?
No, where was it hidden on SmackDown?
I think it was behind the Miz or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking and then it just in between things. It's just
All right, guys. What do you think about what Derek had to say this week?
AJ.
So, first of all, I do not agree with his music. I think that he should just go with one music and then one and done. That's it. Is he gonna change it every week? Is he gonna go from like yoga to like heavy metal, and then is he gonna do like pop next?
It's just funny because every song he uses is a different variation of it was like a stereotype for a serial killer in a different type of thriller movie, right? Like last week it was the creepy, like he's normally a businessman but probably murders people at night. That's what he used previously. Now it's like what you would expect to hear in I almost said it, but I didn't mean it. In Saw. You know what I mean? It's totally like something you'd hear like Jigsaw playing in the background, just some little more high energy. So I think Derek's sending us red flags that we should probably be needing to grab onto. Right. But I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Safety first. But
also, never underestimate my father. He is also a director of something, sir. He is also a director.
I am a director.
Yes, you are.
We'll just say that I'm a director.
You are. You are. So do not underestimate my father.
I don't talk about my job on here, though. I don't really like to talk about my flair. You know.
Here's the thing. Like Adam, me and you've known Derek for what, 3 or 4 years now, something like that.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what he operates.
Like, I don't think he knows. Not a razor blade, that's for sure.
I think he just goes ahead and says that to make himself look cool.
So okay, so where did you? What else did you want to start with? Where or Josh? Where do you want to start with the Thoughts of Jericho?
I wanted to ask AJ how she felt about him saying that his segment is the most requested segment on our show.
It is not. I was actually gonna mention that. It is not. Mine is the most requested. It is the best in the world. No, I'm not talking about Shane McMahon. Get that out of your head. It is CM Punk Day, everybody.
So many references already.
Yes.
And there's going to be such an oversaturation, yes. I can tell.
But, Mine is the best in the world. Mine is the most requested, and you get all those likes and all those views on whatever you use. It's mine. It's me. That's how you get them.
You're the draw, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Kids love me, so kids start listening to you. That's simple.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, AJ. All right. Adam, anything else you wanted to add on to what he said about wherever was the pay-per-view or his thoughts of the 24/7 title? How about this? I have a question for you. Why? I love Derek.
I got a lot to say, really.
Yeah, this has been going on since we've done like the Universal Chatter with him in the past, like and the warm-up show. Like I love Derek. I just don't know how he can
on everyone.
I was about to say, how can you throw anybody on the roster could be a world champion? Hell, Drake Maverick by the end of the year could contend for the IC title at this rate. Like,
I mean, that's possible. Actually, it's probably somewhere. I don't know. No. Okay, so wait, listen. I don't. I understand why people were upset with Lacey Evans. We'll get to that stuff later on. That's not something like I just want to know is like for people that like we're not really a recap show. We just like to kind of like talk about what we liked or maybe something, we don't break things down. Why is this idiot coming on in segments and breaking down like you're like, hey, director of operations, do you even know what you're operating? Again, the show that you're operating, you're not even following its own guidelines there. Number two, I really think Carmella has a better chance of being the world champion than R-Truth. And I love R-Truth. And I want to say this. I think that Derek does have a great point. And this is one great thought of Derrico because now I'm going to make my reference. R-Truth has been in some very, very integral points in wrestling history. And we don't even realize it. Like, for example, on June 27th, 2011, it was R-Truth that beat John Cena before CM Punk cut the pipe bomb. So, Derek, I agree with you. He's that important that he did have to be in the main event that night, which, in a way, you could look back and say might be better than winning a world championship. I mean, who really knows? Truth wins a championship, or what's gotten more views, if that's what Derek's YouTube barometer's based off of. Which also makes me think that he's a little bit too much into voyeurism, but that's neither here nor there. I feel like he's the type of dude that watches a lot of reaction videos. That's all. That's just me, and that's just, he just seems to me that he watches a lot of reaction videos, but like weirdos. So, but other than that, what other points was he trying to make on there, or?
It's funny. We're a little breaking down the fourth wall since this is Punk Day.
The references are going to get so old by the end of the show.
I know. People are going to be pissed.
It's already bad.
Breaking down the fourth wall, we're actually recording this live on our YouTube channel. And Derek's in the chat room right now listening to this live as we record the show.
Of course he would be.
He says, the thoughts of Derrico, the most popular segment of the show. Yes.
The only people that say that are people that want to believe it in their own heads. You know what I mean? Like there's a great Paul Heyman interview that dropped like 2 days ago. And by the way, I think there's a lot of irony behind or coincidence when that was dropped or whatever. But, like Paul Heyman said, he doesn't walk around saying, I'm the best guy back here. He just goes out and hopes to prove it. And he has the mindset. So Derek, again, what are you operating other than a chat room? Doesn't you have the guts to come on like a man, a Canadian man, like a Mountie, if you will?
A Mountie? What's better, a Mountie or a Rougeau? I mean, they're French, but it's still Canadian, right?
Wasn't the Mountie a Rougeau?
I could be wrong. I wasn't born during that era.
I think the Mountie was one of the Rougeaus. I actually used to like the Mountie. I don't know. I like the cattle prod thing. I got such a kick out of it. I don't know why.
Oh, here's another comment from him. He says, I'm letting you all get what you need off your chest, and when I make my return, I'll set everyone straight. Fantastic. That's tremendous. When
I make my return. Man, you're lucky we're doing this in the TVPG segment of the show.
Yes.
All right. We'll save the rest of the comments when Derek actually graces us with his presence on air.
Yes. Real quick though, AJ, what did you think of Stomping Grounds? I know your time is limited. You got to go ghost hunting, but
yes. But so my time or my Stomping Grounds review was very good at the very last match because now I've been saying this ever since Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch came out online that they were dating.
Right.
I've been saying that they're gonna be the new mixed match people who are gonna do a mixed match challenge. Whether you kept saying it was gonna be versus Edge and Beth somehow, Edge and Beth. But now then I say they're gonna probably have to do it something else first to lead up to that. If they were going to do that.
I mean, you did. I'm not going to deny it.
Here's Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. So what? Seth Rollins is feuding Baron Corbin, and Becky is feuding with Lacey Evans. So what's the best mixed match challenge? To put the two feuders against the two other ones in a mixed match.
Hmm. And it's not. Do you like the winner take all aspect of that match, though?
Yes, I do like that part. I just very hope that Seth Rollins is not messed up because I cannot have this couple break up. This will be a tragedy if they break up, okay?
You love some Becky and Seth together, huh?
Yes.
You love that they're showing them on TV.
Yes.
Yeah, I could tell.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to ask her, I'll ask her one more question because I know, like I said, her time's limited. So, how do you feel about, and obviously you're not online to do this. I just kind of told you like Seth Rollins was like going after people online and kind of standing up for WWE. I mean, what do you think right now? Because we're going to give probably our thoughts later on, but now that we've heard that Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff are coming in and you're kind of familiar with them people, you're definitely familiar with Paul Heyman.
Yes.
Do you like that they're going to kind of be in the creative process, it looks like?
Yes. Eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. That's what I do every single day.
Jeez.
I eat, sleep, conquer, and repeat.
That's a good way to live.
Oh my God.
Good way to live.
No.
AJ, anything else you wanted to say before you head off this week?
Okay, so what I wanted to say was the music research that I did, obviously. Are you stupid? Of course I wanted to say this. So I am going to put this band first because my father decided to say the other one first, and because this is an excellent band. So was it on Tuesday, I believe? Tuesday. Rowan was wearing a Soundgarden shirt.
They were in Seattle.
Yes, they were in Seattle. Now Soundgarden was an American rock band formed in Seattle, Washington.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's actually, go ahead.
In 1984. And Chris Cornell was the lead singer of that.
Mm-hmm.
And he did die by suicide.
Mm-hmm.
When was it?
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2017.
Yes.
May 20th, 2017.
Okay. But yeah, so we all miss Chris Cornell, especially the ones who grew up with his music.
Well, here's what's crazy is I was like going to start to make a joke like, really? Nuh-uh. They were a band from Seattle, but Josh, I don't know what our listener base is. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that really might not know. I mean, because to think about it, that's 20 some years ago now. No, 90. Dude, we're talking almost 30 years before when Soundgarden first broke through. Temple of the Dog was right before them. That's what really got started over, and then Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and Nirvana and everyone else came after that. But it's insane to think that grunge is 30 years old. So there are a lot of people listening to this that did not get to experience that in real time, including yourself.
Yeah, I think they already had mainstream fame once I was born. So, I've always been an advocate for Soundgarden. Just growing up listening to music, it's always strange. I feel like an old soul in a way, AJ, where I always cling on to music from past as opposed to present day.
Yes, I do like Nirvana a lot, and that was not even close to my time.
You're a big Pearl Jam fan.
Yes, I do like Pearl Jam. And Becky Lynch is too, so go Becky. I didn't even know that. We have another thing in common, right? Good. We do. But,
you're like me and Becky. This isn't you, not me, obviously, but you.
Yes, we really do. To be honest.
There you go. Okay. Hey.
AJ, who's the bad band this week?
The bad band is, unfortunately, Dad had to spoil it, but I'm not mad that he spoiled it because they are terrible. Gojira. Gojira is a French heavy metal band from Bayonne, originally formed as Godzilla in 1996, but they changed their name to Gojira in 2001. And I'm also not a very big fan, one, because literally everything is in French, as in everything is in French. And so the one that is not is actually one, I think this is one, yeah, this is the one. It's called From Mars to Cyrus. And one of the fourth title, and the fourth title in there is Unicorn. So again,
I don't know.
again with old people singing about unicorns, I do not like it. I'm not gonna listen to you if you're singing about unicorns, Rowan.
You're definitely in wrestling Twitter somewhere.
I mean, I love unicorns, but I'm not gonna sing. But I'm not gonna listen to a heavy metal band sing about a unicorn.
It's a strange topic to sing about. I agree with
Yes,
that.
I used to work with a dude that listened to Gojira a lot, and here's the thing: I never listened to him, so please, they might be an excellent band.
Is Flying Whales
It's just
a good title?
well, we were all concerned that the dude that was always shoving his band down our throat. Our big concern was that he was going to come in our place of employment one day and just shoot up the place. So it was one of those where, and I'm not kidding around. It's something that we actually had a heavy concern about, a discussion at work about it with some people. Hey, should we talk? Do we have to escalate this? But it was kind of weird. But yeah. So that's kind of why I've stayed away from Gojira. But yeah, I don't know. Thank you for the music lessons.
Yes.
We appreciate.
And Rowan, thank you for making me do this music lessons, or else people wouldn't know what's bad and what's good in music.
Seems like he's giving us a little bit of international flavor and domestic flavor every week. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna change
We
it
got
up.
some COC last week, some courage and conformity.
Yes. Because you have to teach us. As also,
He doesn't have to teach us.
I was also
He's probably you're putting pressure on this poor man, and he's like, oh, now I got to teach the youth of America about good metal. Oh, and that's not what he's ready for right now.
But I was wearing a My Chemical Romance shirt earlier today.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
If you connected that, and I love MCR, but if you connect them with any of the bands that we've just listed,
no,
it's kind of a tragedy.
I do not at all. But
I'm glad you brought up MCR, AJ, because I was playing Helena a couple weeks ago on the guitar. That's an awesome song.
Yes, it is. It was one that I was listening to today, along with "Welcome to the Black Parade" and "Famous Last Words."
Yep.
Good brother, you've done a good job raising her.
Yes.
Get that.
Do my best.
And Rowan has to teach us about good heavy metal.
Yeah.
Good and bad. That's why I'm here. So he can wear the shirts, and then I do research, and then I tell you.
You are fired up today.
He's just a principal, and I'm the teacher.
Oh my god.
And you all are the students.
Oh my god.
I think we established three things. No, two things actually. All three of us are on the list of Jericho again. And secondly, AJ had another career change this week. She's a teacher now, so we got that all figured out.
And listen, and I don't take any kind of idle threats or anything from somebody that phones in via satellite. Come on now. You know what I mean? Come on. Thoughts of Jericho. Can we try? And it's more the quips of Jericho. It's not even the thoughts. thoughts out of Jericho are frightening.
AJ, thank you so much.
No problem. I will talk to you, next week? Maybe in 3 weeks? I don't know. I don't care. But I'll definitely be teaching you about good music. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And then the exit stage left.
Exit stage left. Derek just wrote this in the chat room. I am the superintendent. Is that how you pronounce it?
He's trying to use big words. He's basically the Vince McMahon of he's going to use a bunch of big words to make it sound like you polish up the turd. You know what I mean?
Right.
By using a bunch of big words to just really say hey, it's two guys fighting. I don't like you. I don't like you. All right, let's fight about it. It's right. The juxtaposition of our personalities must be
the personification. Little story for those who don't know me. When I was in high school, in our English reading classes, we would have to read a book throughout the week called Word Smart. So you know how you're just talking about Derek bringing up big words that nobody knows. I had to study those each week. So we had to learn 3 particular words, write it down, and make sense of the sentence. I think it. I'll say this. I think having that Word Smart book actually helped me out when I started doing transcriptions and writing and stuff. So, I thought it was a reference that would work.
Wait, I am so sorry. I just got a work email and like I had to respond to it real quick. Say that last part again, brother. I'm so sorry.
No, I was
I'm
saying
so bad on a podcast too. It's just life's hectic.
No, I was just saying you're talking about they're bringing up big words, right? Like when I was in high school in our English class, we always had to learn. We took like a full year of I think it was my junior year of high school. We read this book called Word Smart, and we'd have weekly tests on it. And you have to write it down and make it make sense in a sentence, Right. And I did that every Friday. And I think even though it's funny as we're talking about this, it actually really helped me out to become a better writer once I was doing transcriptions and stuff. So, yeah. All right. Enough school stuff.
I was gonna say when I was in school, they were still teaching us like seriously teaching us like cursive And I know today they don't. I know most of us are like, oh no, don't go. Like, stop it. None of us use it. But it's such a dead language. It's we don't use it. But schooling today is so much different, man. Even when you were in school, from when again, I was born in the 70s, so my high school life was much different. Like we actually had to grind our own pencils. Kids today wouldn't even know what to do.
Right. Exactly.
I had to walk 10 miles in the snow. Damn it.
Back in my day, pal. Shout out to the good bird Nick from the UK. He just chimed in. He said, "This music chat is making me feel old. I own most of this on cassette tape."
Right? It's exactly, and it's crazy, Nick, dude. I love you, and it's funny, dude, because it's like, so for us, it's like yeah, of course they're from Seattle, but there's that just even 10 or 15, it's really a 10-year difference, and you weren't old enough to really grasp that Seattle sound. You might have been 3 or 4 years old, you know what I mean? Versus how we grew up with it when we were 13, 14, 15, whatever. And it's just to live in that moment. It was nothing. It was still my favorite little era, I think, of life.
Right.
At least from a music standpoint, maybe. I don't know.
So you guys know I've come up with the term Nimrods over the years since doing these type of shows. And, we can have another Slayer to the list of Seth Rollins. We have the King Slayer. We got the Beast Slayer. Now we have the Nimrod Slayer. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But I wanted to start off the show talking about Stomping Grounds. I really have no updates as far as New Japan's concerned. I know that the G1's starting a week from this Saturday, which is pretty cool. By the way, I know next week will be the 4th of July, so we're probably not going to be having a show next week. I just want to let you guys know in advance while you're listening to this.
Word? I'm finding that out in real time. Hell yeah. A week off? Woo! Listen, I love you guys, but this kid needs a day off. He needs a couple hours off.
Don't we all, right?
You'll find out one day. Because you got the hustle. That's what I mean. So you'll know what it's like to work from morning till night. The 9-to-5ers don't get it.
The grind don't stop, baby. Nope. Yes, sir. All right, brother. What did you think about the pay-per-view on Sunday? Before we get to habits and all that stuff.
I mean, I don't know. Overall thoughts, I thought it was cool. I don't think it was anything that I don't know what, I just saw a lot of people groaning and moaning online. And listen, this is one thing I do agree with Derek about. I thought it was fantastic. And I'm such two people I didn't think about, and I'm very regretful for not being able to bring it up on the show last week. But Graves is somebody that I thought about right before the show. Oh, wait a minute. What if he could have been a special guest?
We talked about that.
Me and you talked about that real quick, but that would have been cool to kind of tie him in there. Mm-hmm. On the flip side of it, the fact that I just didn't even think about Lacey Evans shows how I don't want to say of a casual fan I've become, and I'm not down talking WWE because they're I watch it as a show, it's not I'm constantly researching all this stuff and so it was a nice surprise and it was a good pop and it does make sense, absolutely.
Well, we're wrestling fans, we're not fans of the business, I guess.
Well, I actually am I'm a fan of the business side, I'll admit, because I've been in business my entire life. I do. Mm-hmm. I'll admit, I'm very, and we'll talk about Heyman and Bischoff later, but this is what makes it exciting for me. You know what I mean? I'm the guy that I think storyline is 75% of every feud. Like I honestly don't think it's the match. It's the story that you're telling, and that's told before the match. The match is just the finale. But that's neither here nor there. There's different stuff to talk about.
All right, really quick for me. First of all, I want to send a special shout out to young lady that I got to spend some time with this past weekend in Orlando. Her name's Lauren. Blessed to get to meet her family this weekend, which was cool. Her mom made me dinner on Sunday to watch the pay-per-view with her, which was a pretty cool experience. I met this girl a couple years ago, and she's a big wrestling fan. By the way, ironic, a big CM Punk Mark II, which will probably upset Derrico. Derek knows who I'm talking about. And I'm watching the pay-per-view with her, and here's the cool thing, and I reminded her while I was down there, I was like, the greatest part about the WWE Network, you never have to watch anything live. You could put it on at any time.
Yeah.
If you're crammed in traffic, or if you had a family event and you feel like you have to rush home, like it's 2005 and you want to watch some, I remember, like, I was in 2005, I was in 5th grade, and I was like, damn, I have to rush home to go see ECW One Night Stand 2005, right? I'm just making an example, right? Now that doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't have to happen. And I think it's cool. So we started watching the pay-per-view about, an hour or two after it went live. Couple thoughts real quick. First off, the Cruiserweight title match with Tozawa, Drew Gulak, and Tony Nese was fucking awesome.
It was so good. It was amazingly good.
That match put my typing fingers to the test, man. They were going really fast. Some of the spots into the turnbuckles were nasty. Gulak, now the guy's always been known as the submission guy, and he wins with the torture rack neckbreaker. And by the way, Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness, the entire 205 Live commentary team, I like that squad. Mm-hmm. And I thought they did a good job calling that match as well. And it was cool to see the audience be involved in that as well in the kickoff show. So, yeah, I get it. The 205 Live guys were on the kickoff show again, but I thought they had one of the best matches on the show.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I won't disagree with that. I think anybody that watched that is going to say the same thing. I mean, this is one that if you're, and the shame of it is that it was placed on the pre-show, and I understand why it was. I think we all understand that, but it's just a shame that it had to be, because more eyes should have been on this match. And this is where, I agree with you a lot that, there should be more eyes on 205 Live. I get why they're not putting it on networks, and I get why it's a WWE Network exclusive versus putting, trying to get an outlet like Fox or USA or Sci-Fi or whatever, but man, I wish more people would have saw this, that this is one that it could have really jump started the show in that number one slot, and really got the crowd a little bit hyped up at the beginning there. I'm not saying that, that the crowd wasn't decent. I actually thought the crowd was pretty good all night. So, back to you for a sec.
All right. A couple other things from the show that really stood out to me. Like, we had both of the women's title matches, Alexa Bliss against Bayley, and then you had Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch starting off the show. I know a lot of people were crapping on Lacey Evans a couple weeks ago for her match with Charlotte on Raw, which didn't have a lot of great reviews, but I thought Lacey did a really good job in the match, despite her losing and stuff like that. I do have to say this really quick, and I don't know if Adam will hear this in the background, but Becky, you have to stop with the Kill Bill stuff. It's not WrestleMania anymore. Please. I think it looks cool on her. I don't mind her trying to be Kill Bill. But every show, I don't know. WrestleMania was back in April. It's going to be July next week. Let's move on from the Kill Bill outfits. Secondly, I thought Alexa and Bayley had a really good match. It was in the middle of the show. I think it was after one of the main matches in the show, so the crowd was kind of quiet at times, but I thought her, Bayley, and Nikki Cross did a very good job. I'm very biased. I'm a big Alexa Bliss fan, and I'm just biased in that way sometimes. Oh, by the way, shout out to Nick Ricker. He said, someone should tell Kenny Omega the network isn't live. He seemed pissed yesterday. His tweet was stupid, by the way. He's making reference to Kenny Omega saying that with WWE making the announcement that Evolve, by the way, which is not a WWE product, Evolve's 10th anniversary will be streamed live on the network the same day as Fight for the Fallen. And Kenny Omega decided to make it and turn around into an AEW narrative, saying that, oh, competition's mad and they're going to put their own product ahead of a charity show. Hey, folks, I'm gonna be watching both of those shows that same night, and it's really not a big deal. And like I was just saying 5 minutes ago, you can watch the network anytime that you want, literally anytime you want. So I don't know how Evolve's 10th anniversary affects Fight for the Fallen. By the way, you could watch Bleacher Report live anytime you want. So, Kenny, I love you, dude. I get it that you're. And this is gonna linger on to the Seth Rollins stuff, but let's understand we're talking about OTT networks, and you can watch it anytime you want. I really don't think Evolve's 10th anniversary is gonna have any impact on what AEW Fight for the Fallen is. I just don't think that's the case. So, back to the pay-per-view. Box, yes, I definitely agree with you. Yes.
Hold on, let me get something real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
Now that I'm back, I'm sorry. I've seen ghosts. It's the strangest thing sometimes, man. I swear to God, a couple times a week, I swear I see a ghost. But so here's the thing. First, I wanted to back up to where the Becky Lynch Kill Bill outfit.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question, man. Do you tell Steve Austin to get rid of the jean shorts and knee pads, and you know what I mean? Do you tell Punk to not do its clobbering time? Do you tell? Yeah, I love it or hate it. I think right now, while she's running with the man gimmick, that's the character she's portraying herself as.
It's not the gear that she's wearing; it's the colors, I guess. Maybe that's why I keep thinking of Kill Bill.
Well, no, she said it was after the bride in Kill Bill. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's 100%. It's she's paying homage. Is from the bride from Kill Bill, Uma Thurman's character. And that's what I totally dig about it. Like before I found out about that, that's one thing that my daughter and I were always like kind of like really, really, really dug about it. And it fit her character so well because like she says on her documentary, it was like she was coming back to, avenge everybody that kind of got her. Right. I think while she's still running with this character, and plus let's face it, it's a cool outfit. You don't like the color scheme. Yeah. You just don't like black and gold together or black and yellow or like however you want to look at it because you don't like Undisputed Era's colors.
I don't like the song. I like Undisputed Era. Let's not.
You like Undisputed Era, but you don't like their color scheme. Yeah. We've talked about it. You don't like it's the black and gold, and that's your holdback. So I'm gonna call you. I gotta keep it 100 on that one. Because her Kill Bill outfit is on point and it's awesome. And anytime you can pay homage to not only other forms of cinema, but strong female leads, you know what I mean? Like somebody that's just an ass kicker that, was just kicking ass, taking names, knew she had a mission, and it was really just one mission, because I do think in the future, once she drops the Raw Championship, I think eventually then we start to see her a little bit different, and I mean, she's still going to be them. I truly believe this will be her going forward, but we'll start to see just little differences in her, especially once they hopefully go into a feud or some sort of program with Beth Phoenix and Edge. However they can make it work, man. Like even if Edge and Rollins just have to be in the corners, or maybe Edge's special guest referee or something like, however they can make it work, I feel like, it'd be cool. So I don't know, but there's that. What did I miss that Nick said? Because I want to make sure
Nick said that he didn't hate Lacey as a rep, but I don't think that they should have pushed the idea that it could be someone bigger. Only thing I'll say is that they do that a lot when it comes to like surprises or who's it gonna be. They've done that. Remember when the first show we started doing the shows together was Raw 25, right? You remember that?
Yep.
And everybody was whining that they didn't get the surprises that they want. Like that. That's very fluid in ways. Those type of situations can fit the storyline like Lacey Evans did, or you can have somebody that comes out of nowhere and changes everything. Right. Like I brought the idea of AJ Styles being a special guest referee, and they could actually have that whole Bullet Club thing because AJ has history with Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins, and I thought that would have worked. But, you know, just because AJ didn't come out mean I had to trash the entire match or whatever. I thought it was kind of clever from a trolling point of view.
It was great. Yeah, I know. I
came out.
Actually, and you know what got me about it is that and I'm not saying it would work every time, because like sometimes they do stuff and it's like, okay, really, like, you know, but I'll admit this one, it's one of those things where it's so obvious we all should have seen it coming, to be quite honest. You know, and for how much they've been playing in the Becky and Seth's relationship, which is, I think that's totally cool that they're doing that too. I think it is kind of cool. But being able to play into said relationship, then, you know what I mean? Like it was able to give them that extra tool in their toolbox that if they needed to use it, they could. And I think they saved it for the right time, you know? And we all knew Becky was coming out at the end. It wasn't going to be like any surprise that Becky wasn't going to save her man. And I like that Rollins is the man's man, by the way. Like, you know what I mean? Like this, it's just the way that they're playing off of all this. I think the reservation with Lacey Evans right now, Josh, and I understand it. I'm not, you know how I am, and I let them do their thing. I'm at home on a couch.
Well,
so
you can think for yourself.
Right. Well, yeah. But I'm at home on a couch, so I'm not, you know. But at the same time, I do kind of understand maybe some of the criticisms of Lacey Evans. That's all. That, you know what I mean. There's something that isn't clicking yet with me, and again, it's not even that like it's heat. There's indifference setting in. I thought they saved that match. I thought the first half of the match was atrocious. And it wasn't the performer's fault, you know. It was too much of, you know. And then once they finalized it, so it was like no disqualification, they could really start picking stuff up. Then it got, you know, I mean, but that's when when you have a 30-minute block, 40-minute block, maybe whatever. It shouldn't rely on just the last 10 minutes, you know. And the same goes for movies. There's movies that are 3 hours long, and it's like you're waiting for the very end, and it's like, and it's M. Night Shyamalan, and it doesn't make any sense, and there's like tractors running over people, and you just want to like regret that you even bought the ticket. Sorry, flashback.
Let me bring this full circle, and I think Derek brought this really, really good. Like, if you think about it, it really wouldn't matter who have been the guest referee. People would have been pissed about it. That's where we are with the shows these days.
Yeah, no matter what, it's criticisms. You know, that's all you're going to see is the criticisms of it. You know.
Really quick, other stuff from the pay-per-view. I agree with what Derek said. The Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, New Day match was really good. I like that. Roman and McIntyre was pretty good too, actually. I'm trying to remember my favorite spot of that match. There was a couple. I'll say this, man. I'm very happy for Drew McIntyre, for him to be, no matter how you feel about Roman Reigns, for McIntyre to have that type of slot on the pay-per-view with like a guy that's in the position Roman Reigns is, or Shane McMahon, character-wise, that's everybody's talking about, oh, Roman needs the rub for this and that. Actually, McIntyre is getting the rub out of anybody in this feud right now, and that's why I've been enjoying the stuff with Roman Reigns and Shane McMahon, because, okay, yes, McIntyre didn't beat Roman, but he wasn't made to look like an idiot at the same time. So, like, McIntyre's stock hasn't been affected by feuding with Roman Reigns. If anything, I think it's helped it grow, even after he had that little tag team with Dolph Ziggler last year. So that's my thoughts on it.
Well, no, I mean, that's just, and see, that's the rub that the casual fan hates, right? Like, it used to be like, if you were in a match with Cena for Cena's Open Challenge, even if you lost, that was your chance. You know what I mean? That was your chance, not only with the casual audience, the diehard audience, Vince, because apparently he's his own audience. And I'm gonna make those.
Damn right, pal.
You know, but you know, it's one of those where love him, hate him. You're right. You know, Roman Reigns is that guy now that still is going to be looked at as an attraction regardless of where he's at on the card. So if you're looking to get to that next level, and I think Drew McIntyre is not, you know, I hate that I'm ripping Derek's line here, but Drew McIntyre will absolutely hold a world championship. There's no questioning that. Yes. You know? But you know, and look at the route he took again, you know, leaving, coming back, and kind of just coming back with a whole new mindset. Sometimes makes all the world a difference. And he's been one of their most consistent, I would say, in the men's division, easily over the past year, in the top 5 most consistent performers, like, period. You know what I mean? And I mean, he's one of the I will admit I think it's fair to say that we can. There's a lot of criticisms that we could make about some things with WWE right now. Not everything. It's not as bad as everyone's making it out to be. But I do feel like there's some things that aren't also. They could be better. But he's been one of the absolute bright spots on the men's side.
Well, I want to get your thoughts on that once we're done with this part of the show. Like,
yeah.
Let me say this, and I want to give a shout out to Dave LaGreca for Busted Open, because there's this ongoing debate on Twitter about what type of heat Baron Corbin offers, and Chris Jericho said on his podcast last week that Baron Corbin's not ready for title shots and this and that. And I'm a Jericho guy. I love the guy. I'm not going to come on here and trash him or whatever, but this whole thing about go away heat and not ready heat, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. At the end of the day, are you talking about Baron Corbin or not? Like
me? I mean, I like Corbin.
I'm talking about in general. I'm not saying
like this. Don't bring me into this, man. I don't need that again. My God, I love the dude.
No, my bigger point is this, and I thought Dave had a good point. On WWE, on Raw and SmackDown, nobody gets a more genuine dislike on the show than Baron Corbin. Right. Nobody.
Right.
And why should he be punished for that? And why are we still doing this thing in 2019? Because, he's not ready. He doesn't deserve it because he wasn't in the indies or whatever. Like, come on.
I think that's a bad argument. Yeah, I'll never subscribe to that.
It's a lazy argument.
Oh, see, yeah, okay. If that's dictating the argument, then I don't agree with that whatsoever. You know, and listen again. Most of the 99% of the people that are criticizing Baron Corbin are sitting on their couch somewhere. You know, so I don't, or Lacey Evans or whatever. You know, Lacey Evans would knock me out. So I mean, you know who am I to criticize her? But I will admit there were some spots in that match where she didn't look good. Like timing was way off. Like Becky's having to yell moves at her, just so, it just.
We can say that for a lot of performers, though.
Agreed, and you know what? And in fairness too, we have to consider another thing too. Once they, and I know this is like years down the line now, but once they did make that switch to HD, and HD has progressively gotten better and better and better, down to the point that you can like see sweat on sweat on sweat, like the weird commercials. But so we're gonna see more. It would just be like sitting in the first or second row, and guess what, guys? We'd hear a lot from a lot of performers, Yeah,
I always say this, like, there's a front row in the upper deck section of the Rosemont Horizon that you guys got to see at Money in the Bank, that I was there for the Money in the Bank.
We were sitting there. Amazing.
It's a great view of the ring. And here's my thing, especially those in the arena or people watching on the network, maybe just this is how I feel. I don't know if I want to be as close to the ring and get that view. Like, okay, it's cool. You're a bit close to your favorite superstars and this and that. And you can hear the bumps in the ring and this and that. But to hear spots or notice little mistakes and over analyzing what you're actually watching, that's the aspect I wouldn't want if I was like in that front row section, or like you mentioned with the HD stuff now. It's right. Like you can notice everything. How many times do you hear on the show about John Cena calling out spots and stuff? You know what I mean?
Listen, it's like this. In the NFL, they're voting on every play, right?
It's that type of stuff in wrestling that I don't care about.
Yeah, it doesn't. Here's the thing. I'm not going to say it doesn't have to be. I actually like sometimes when wrestling isn't like 100% squeaky clean. Like I like when it looks a little more gritty, like some things, because listen, in a real, quote unquote, in a real fight, not every move's going to come off as like acrobatically perfect and everything, So obviously from a safety standpoint, you don't want to see anything go wrong. But I don't know, man. I think it's just because this is that time of year where they try different things. It's, there's nothing wrong with starting with a new superstar. I think a lot of it Josh has to do with Lacey Evans really wasn't pushed that much in NXT, really, right? I mean, she was another one that was more like an Elias or an Alexa Bliss. That was going to be more of the main roster kind of talent. Or did I miss something?
No, she was rarely used on the show. I thought it was actually a flaw of NXT because I actually enjoyed the premise of what her character was, and she had some pretty good matches in NXT. And again, we all know how it is with different environments, making one transition to the next. Just like if you're a minor league baseball player or whatever,
night and day.
Like it's night and day, and nobody's expecting a polished product right off the bat.
And that's the thing. I think that instead of, and I'll admit, like, it's easy to criticize because that's the fun thing to do right now because AEW is going on strong. There's other avenues out there. It's the best time probably ever for professional wrestling because there's seriously an outlet for any kind of style that you like.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to go after the big boy because they want to see the big boy fall. And instead of just wanting everybody to be better.
Thing about that, people want the big boy to fall, and we were talking about this last week, right? About like responding to people going after you, this and that. Like it's okay for like AEW and the guys in New Japan to call out WWE guys because they have writers and this and that, but they get offended when they respond back. And
I love the back and forth
with Seth Rollins, though.
Listen, getting back to Lacey Evans real quick, the point I was going to make was I do think, and I don't want to like down talk just because I said I'm indifferent to her right now. I actually do think that there's such an immense upside with her that she's going to be a superstar. You know, when I don't want to see when she figures it out, but because she's obviously again knows more about it than I'll ever know. But the point is that you can just tell there's other people not only that the fans have invested in and invested money in because that's always a big play, but like Nikki Cross, we need more. Ruby's injured, but what the hell happened to the rest of the Riot Squad? You were building up superstars and all of a sudden you kind of took all of them away. You were having us fall in love and or hate these superstars. And all of a sudden it was kind of like a quick bait and switch of like, we're instantly throwing her into the title picture when I feel as though maybe like Ember Moon even still like, I'm forgetting people because there's so many other women that we're all so, I don't want to say we all, but we're there's enough of us that are engaged in that we want to see something happen with them. We're like Asuka right now, really.
Well, I think there'd be more validity to that if Lacey beat Becky at Money in the Bank right off the bat.
No, I agree with that because I don't think she's winning the title at all. This is just more of a litmus test.
Here's the thing, and I could correlate this to Baron Corbin. A lot of people are having similar complaints from what Baron Corbin's having these house shots to what Jinder Mahal did last summer as WWE champion. Not only just because the whole racial thing and the whole thing with India, I understand that part of it, but there's aspects of every life that there's somebody at your job that you don't like, but that person is good at what they do. And you're going to look down on them for either jealousy or you can't accept the fact that person may be better than you at what you're doing. And I think that's the case a lot with Baron Corbin. I do.
Well, and
the guy is good at what he does, but you're going to cherry pick any little thing that could validate your opinion on him. And I just don't think it's cool.
No.
What's wrong with giving credit where credit's due? I'm not saying that Baron Corbin's the best wrestler in the world or anything like that, but let's not act like he's a bum. Okay?
Yeah. No, well, I never said that. Yeah, I was talking more about Lacey. No, I'm totally digging the Rollins Corbin feud right now. And I do think it shows like again that everybody takes the Baron Corbin character for a fool, right? But like you said, right. Like and like Derek said, and like I'm sure a lot of us said, the Lacey Evans move wasn't maybe it wasn't everyone's favorite move, but it was grimy and it was slimy, and that's supposed to be what Baron Corbin is, right? So it was I don't know. I thought it was cool, and maybe this is just whatever, but I do think that it was funny that she went for the low blow, and that's what triggered Becky Lynch. It was like whatever, she can keep going, and then it gets brought up on social media that like that's why Becky's just like once you go after his balls, then you're mine. I'll admit I dig what they're doing with all this kind of stuff. I do like Baron Corbin. I'm kind of indifferent still on Lacey Evans. Some weeks she grows on me. I don't know. I'm very indifferent on her. We'll say that. Otherwise though, I do think the story itself was good. I actually think the execution was good. There's a lot that we could be, and we'll talk about it when we talk about the two big signings that WWE had. I think there are some very fair criticisms of character development and storylines not really continuing, or or at least feeling so choppy that you don't know which way you're going. But I don't think this is one of them. You know what I mean? I actually do feel like this is one that they're telling a very nice story with these four individuals.
Yeah. All right, really quick, bro. What do you want to start off with first? Seth Rollins and Twitter, or Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff today? Like, what do you want to start off first?
Man, that's a good one. I mean, Rollins is my guy, but I'm like a Heyman and Bischoff guy too. So this one's hard for me. Let's start with Rollins because I want to get we'll get to Heyman and Bischoff later on.
There's an interview that Seth Rollins did with Sports Illustrated. No, was it Sports Illustrated? Yes. Jimmy Trania, the guy from Sports Illustrated, interviewed Seth Rollins on his podcast. You guys gonna hear that towards the end of the show this week, and talking about why he's been kind of lashing out on people on Twitter, and Rollins had hashtag Team WWE thing, and I saw this on Twitter, especially after the pay-per-view was over, and Rollins was like doubling down on what he said beforehand, right? And it's like, look, everybody can say what they want, and like, here's the funny thing: anytime somebody says anything that's pro WWE while they're working there, oh, it's just a shill, or they want to not rock the boat so they can get a higher spot. I think anybody that knows Seth Rollins' story and how problematic he was in NXT before the Shield was a thing, if you guys watched his story and the relationship he had with Triple H, I think Seth has been very genuine with everything he said so far in his interviews. Whether you or I agree with everything he said, that's subjective. But I think Rollins has been genuine with everything he said and every response for anybody that's tried to debunk anything that he said. And I'm not saying that he's right or wrong. It's just his opinion. But again, we get to this situation as wrestling fans that, okay, let's try to bring down the big machine to uplift the underground promotions. And then we'll talk all this ish. And then once one of the main guys, by the way, the guy who's a Universal Champion is speaking up for the company, it's a problem. So again, selective bitching or selective playing favorites is stuff that I don't understand about this society, and it's fucking annoying. It really is. I mean, and if anything, it's embarrassing, to be honest with you.
Honestly, can I just say this?
Go ahead, brother. Isn't
this what kind of makes it fun? And listen, I'm not saying that like everybody should be going on like it, but let's call it like it is, man. These are all different teams now. Yes, they all put on shows, and there's rivals within the shows and in the matches and whatever, but right now we kind of have they are kind of built-in teams where you have your alternative if you want it. There's always Ring of Honor. There's always, New Japan Pro. You have WWE. Excuse me. You guys know how they're all, if you're a talent, you know how all these organizations worldwide, if you want to stay on an independent scene like Joey Ryan's doing, you know where your niche is. And I think it's great that not only are people being vocal on why they love their company or why they felt pigeonholed in a company or why they feel as though they could succeed in a company that others can't. Because this is like, I know you want to keep talking football. This is like Bears Raiders, like, smack talk. I think that's healthy. This is healthy competition because it wants people to go out and make Stomping Grounds, which title didn't bother me. It did look like some Lugs boots though, from it looked like it was sponsored by Lugs, and I didn't like that aspect of it. But that made the men and women on that card want that pay-per-view to stand out. It's making them, now they're only limited in what they can do, and we know that's the unfortunate side of it. But I think that the signing of, we'll get to that later on. But even when you see Graves put a tweet out there that says, it's 5 a.m., just got home. Believe me, we're trying. They recognize that there's an issue, and this is, I've said it, for a couple weeks now. I do think the women's division could be a little better than what it is, but I think the women's division's great. I think that the 24/7 title is great. But right now, I mean, I'm watching WWE for the women's division, and I'm watching I'm seeing what I can for AEW for the men's division, and I want every company to succeed. So if they're whatever the problem is, I think, Josh, and I'm not going to be one of those guys that say they got to totally get rid of Vince and do all this. No, you're never going to reinvent the wheel. It's just sometimes the wheel needs to be shifted slightly to the right or left to meet the market needs. And right now the market needs aren't PP jokes, man. Like it's just not. And for Vince, and seriously, Josh, let's think about how many moments in the past year we've had some really hardcore eye roll moments. I'm not going to like the Usos ones I thought were funny. I'm not going to like bash those ones, but like Drake Maverick having to piss himself. Come on, man. That's when you're at the bottom of like, I have nowhere else to go. Like it's like the last fish that you hope is like, it's the last goldfish at the carnival that you hope is still isn't floating yet.
Well, here's my thing. And I want to reference this to what Kurt Angle said, because he was on Busted Open today. I know I've been mentioning Busted Open a lot, but it's a good show. It had something for everybody from a wrestler's perspective and a fan perspective. Their shows are now on Apple Podcasts. You guys could go check that out right now. But Kurt Angle was on the show today, and he was talking about how a lot of the WWE decision has to go through shareholders and the wants of these sponsors to have the show be for families, and that having it be a show for everybody. And he said back in the Attitude Era, it was easier to say things off the cuff and all this stuff because you're catering to 18 and 34-year-olds. And okay, I get it. A lot of people our age and grew up during the 90s or 80s era of wrestling don't have the time or the want for pee-pee jokes and this and that. But that's what we have with the WWE. That's not a full representation of where the wrestling business right now. And here's my thing when I look at what's going on right now. How I view WWE is the entire brand.
No, I get that. Yeah.
If it's Monday Night Raw that's having a slump or something like this or that, okay, that's fine. I get my fix from men's wrestling, women's wrestling, whatever it is, from many different companies. And I think a lot of times, unfortunately, we only bog down what really is going on with WWE based only on Raw and SmackDown, because NXT UK kills it every week. 205 Live kills it every week. Everybody drools over these takeovers. I think the main roster pay-per-views, no matter what the name of it is or whatever, they mostly deliver. And we were just talking about how decent and pretty good Stomping Grounds was. So my thing is, I like for people to understand that WWE as the business and the company is more focused on the brand than, okay, here's WWE and our only show is Raw. For example, AEW and the name of whatever their show is going to be in the fall. That's the only thing people are going to focus about. And that's the only content that AEW is going to deliver. So WWE is getting punished because people still have that mindset that we're watching one show from one company, and Monday Night Raw represents everything that's either right or wrong about the WWE, and that's not the case.
Well, you know what? I will say this. Here's the one thing, and this is where I would kind of be cautious. And I'm not talking to you, Josh, but I mean just anybody that is always brand first. When a company realizes that its brand recognition is going to carry them no matter what, they get lazy. And I think what happened, look at any.
Well, you can call it lazy from a content point of view, but if you're still making money, it's not affecting their business.
Well, right, I understand that, but that's where I hate to bring it up. That's where CM Punk said Vince McMahon's a millionaire that should be a billionaire. He's doing it for that. If that truly is the case, Josh, then it is an audience of one. It is for Vince McMahon only, because and here's why I say that. This was going to be my second point. I think that my 9-year-old, when they were doing the Drake Mavericks stuff, was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. She was like, I wouldn't have laughed at this when I was 5 years old. Now, this is my 9-year-old, right?
Yeah.
A 9 years old in 2019 is not 9 years old in 1989. The reason why I say that, and I'm not saying where I think that Vince Vince is starting to get like Al Davis. He needs someone to tell him, like, listen, you're wrong, because he's like now the great grandfather that still thinks he can tell a joke about Eisenhower and it's going to connect with like his 10-year-old. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know who Dwight Eisenhower is. Like that's what my daughter would say. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know who you're talking about. So it's kind of like there is a disconnect. I even think with their targeting with youth. When it comes to merchandise, absolutely not. When it comes to, so granted, yeah, they're like Disney. They're taking people to the cleaners. But they are judged, I believe, on, if you're looking at brand, they're not delivering on the two most important, I would argue, facets of their brand, and that is their television shows, Raw and SmackDown. And I don't think that they're not trying. I don't think that they're not focusing. What I think the problem is that Vince knows that no matter what he puts on, the stock's going to go up because people are still going to buy the merch. And people, because everybody that complains still watches and still tweets and still does all this stuff. Well, and they know that.
Yeah, you're making my point, though. People are still talking about it.
But that doesn't get. But
we can't say they're struggling because of ratings. Because how many times? Let's pull up the Patriot Act show that you brought up to me on Netflix last week, and that debunks everything that we know about ratings.
Yeah, no, the ratings argument.
A television product cannot be struggling if it's still in the top 5 every single week, but it's continuing to lose viewers. You know why? Because people are not required to sit on their ass in a certain time to watch a show.
Let me ask you this question.
Unless it's a sporting fan. Honestly, besides sports and one rare show that clicks to people like a Gotham or Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, what about television these days that's that must-see that you have to be on your ass at a certain time to watch it?
Here would be my only, because I agree with that, but here would be, especially, dude, you know me, I don't watch TV ever on when
I don't either.
Raider games, that's it. Like, other than that, it's on my, it fits into my schedule. I don't fit into their schedule. But I would argue there's more talent in the WWE locker room and system right now than there has ever been. And I mean, like that locker room has star power top to bottom. And I do feel as though there's some injustice to these athletes. And I'm glad Rollins is going after people because this started with Rollins more than anything else. I like seeing Rollins and a Jericho and Tama Tonga, and because I think it was Tama Tonga, right? That was dropping into a little bit.
Oh, Will Ospreay.
Ospreay was in there too. I thought Tama put something out about being the best wrestler in the world. Don't at me or something.
No, he said that he wanted to. Him and his brother want to have a match with the Usos.
Oh, it'd be awesome. But
they're family members, so
right.
He's been doing that for years, actually. Come get the smoke.
They have right. But so I mean, I guess my point is that this is the fun part about finally having, even if it doesn't end up panning out to be somewhat competition, it feels like it, right? And dude, perception is reality. So I totally agree with you. The mega fans are still going to pour money into the company, but perception is reality. And right now, if I'm a casual dude, I'm not going to lie. A lot of times, especially lately, Raw has been the background to me working, and there's been very few segments that I've, keep bringing this up. There's been very few segments where I've actually had to stop and be like, wait, I need to hear this. With the talent that they have, it should want us to watch, like during WrestleMania season, that like you want to watch Raw that night, right? Because you don't want to miss it, because like something may happen. It's the talent that they have right now. I'm not saying it could be at that level because WrestleMania isn't every month, obviously, but we should have like this, man, I can't wait to see. And I'm not going to lie, man, I don't have that right now. So
for me personally, I don't know if I can't miss action in June. And that brings up the whole thing about should there be an off season and this and that. I don't know. I mean, I've been watching this stuff nonstop since 1998. I know when the time of the year there's going to be a slow period, and I know there's going to be times where they're going to heat things up for the bigger shows. So nothing that's going on right now surprises me,
Right. No. I mean, and it's almost a yearly conversation, and I'm not trying to be too overly critical on WWE either, because I do think that they're doing some good things, but it's just right now, I don't, they dropped the ball. I don't want to say they dropped the ball there. It's just, they've had to deal with injuries. You're right. They have to deal with shareholders. There is a lot more that they do have to deal with.
I mean, it's just easy to point out what's going on in Raw and SmackDown and not understand the factors that goes into producing that show in the first place.
No, I get that, but that still has nothing to do with writing.
You have that type of content everybody wants out of AEW, where Moxley and Joey Janela are smoking cigarettes at each other and saying curse words every 3 seconds. That's drawing people in and all this stuff. That's cool, but you're not getting that on television.
No, well, but you know what though? I think there is some validity in that.
I think a lot of people, when it comes to AEW, are being unrealistic to the things that they're going to have to face once they're on television. Or just because what you saw in Double or Nothing means that's what you're going to see on television each week.
I agree with that. Listen, and that's two totally different things. But I think a great comparison though is like, it's really hard to mess up. Like, hey man, I don't like you. Hey man, I don't like you. Let's fight. All right, you know what I mean? Or attach a story to it, or And I think right now, man, like there's no storytelling. There's no real storytelling going on. Like I feel like they just show up on Monday nights or Tuesday nights and go, okay, so what are we gonna do right now?
I don't know about that. I mean, look at Kofi Kingston's title reign. He's the definition of that.
And I think sometimes
title taker's been like, okay, here's the guy that has a problem with me. We're gonna have a title match. Dolph Ziggler comes out of the blue after not being around for the last 5 months. He gets a title shot. Samoa Joe attacks him on Monday. There's their match for Extreme Rules.
Well, right, but Samoa Joe just bounced from title to title. Like there's nothing other than Joe.
That's his character. But you're saying that there's no storylines about guys coming up and saying, "Oh, I don't like you, so we're gonna have a fight." What is Roman Reigns and Shane McMahon?
I think it's deeper. I mean, it started that way, but now it's turned into somewhat of a circus, right? With all the like other side things and stuff like that. Again, not handing on the storyline, but I think that there's some validity. What I was going to say was there's some validity in sometimes less is more, and I feel as though they do overwrite promos and try to use very large vernacular, and the verbiage is done in such a way so that it sounds so Shakespearean and dramatic and theatrical, when people want to just sometimes see somebody cutting a promo, someone's music hit, and they just slug them in the face and it goes from there. I do think there is something with that like when you see a Moxley promo right now and it's like, listen, I haven't liked you for a while. I've been waiting to get back to this joint for just waiting to get out of myself so that I could be myself. Like something that basic sometimes is just magnified 30-fold. Whereas sometimes I do think they overshoot promos.
I just don't think you're going to get a gritty WWE product. This is something that we've been watching for 20 years, and that's what makes their brand what it is. And if that's something that AEW wants to do, something different, or New Japan or any of these other companies, I think that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. But again, let's understand what we're watching as opposed to what we want it to be.
I get that, but this is where I do think that it's enough people are finally, and enough talent, and there's enough disgruntlement that people are, it's not, Josh, it's not, I don't think it's just the fans. I do think that there's some people, and I'm not saying everybody, because I think people are proud to say they work for WWE. People want WWE in there to succeed. I think, I don't know. I don't just from reports and what everybody says, and none of us know the real story on this, but I do think that when you're bringing in an Eric Bischoff, who's I love Eric Bischoff, and when you're bringing in Paul Heyman and watching Alexa Bliss's 365, when you can see Heyman, just the way that he was showing her the art of a promo and like kind of telling, like showing her kind of like how she, man, the thought of them two guys kind of just being there to be that guy that maybe be like, Vince, listen, there was just one something just got uploaded a couple days ago. It's from Inside the Ropes, I believe, maybe, and it was Paul Heyman talking about in Chicago when Punk didn't come out. It was Heyman that came out, and how he had to shift the crowd because it was the Hijack Raw night. And basically he started the show with CM Punk's music and basically blamed Punk for and blamed the fans for Punk leaving and all that stuff, and then pulled Brock Lesnar out. And the way that he breaks that down and talks about how he had to pitch it to Vince, and we're only getting part of the story, obviously, but it'll be nice. I do think Vince, and who knows? I mean, what the hell do I know? But I do think there's probably a different respect level for Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman, to where maybe Vince's ears might be a little more open. That's all. I think there's a huge benefit in having both of them men come in to just say, listen, we understand what you want to do, Vince. Here's how we can make it 2019. Like, I totally get it. Vince, you're right. but now let's modernize it. You know what I mean? So that it's the same story, it's the same thing, it's the same exact. Really, it's what Vince wants, but they're making it feel 2019 and not, you know, whatever year you want to pick one.
With the news that came out today, I think they're doing that. So
exactly right. So Josh, let me ask this question: if it was just the fans being fickle, do you really think that they would go out and sign these two gentlemen and put them in positions to where they could say, Vince, listen, you know, or whomever, or whatever writing team, or who knows, but I don't think this was done willy-nilly. I mean, this was obviously done because both of them are creative geniuses, and both of them are people that athletes want to work with.
I think for me, I thought this was going to happen with Triple H taking more control once the XFL relaunch was going to happen after the Super Bowl.
Poor Triple H. I did too, man.
So I didn't think it was going to be particularly Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff doing this, but I thought as we got closer to this whole Fox transition that this was going to happen and Vince was going to take a step back. So
what are your thoughts though about?
I looked at it. I didn't think this was something that they made it because AEW's around or anything. I thought they were going to make this transition.
I don't think it's an AEW thing though, Josh. I think they realize.
I'm not saying you per se, but I think a lot of people are trying to make it out to be like that. Though.
Right. No, but I think from WWE's standpoint, I don't think it's an AEW thing. They know that there's still. Batista said it best. I mean, there's still a lot. I mean, WWE has so many like farming like systems all over the world, not just the UK brands all over the world, but you know their relationships with Progress, with Evolve, with all these other companies. So they have like the next really like the next 20 years in a way kind of like planned out, mapped out. So it's not like WWE is going anywhere. We don't want them to. We all want we want them to obviously succeed. It's just I do think that it's I don't think the argument should be because of AEW. That I think is a very thin argument. Is AEW putting some pressure on them? Yeah. But I think so is New Japan. I think so is some of the smaller indies, I think that there's a lot of people now that would almost rather watch, go to a local indie show than, maybe in Pittsburgh, go to down here to IWC, LeVar's outfit down here, the Independent Wrestling Cartel. It's a fantastic promotion, great wrestling, I just, I think that they are recognizing that there's a problem. Now, I'm not saying that there's competition or that there's this or there's that, Josh. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that they realize that it's been hard for the performers to kind of get through some of this. You know what I mean? Like they're doing it because it's their job and they're doing the best that they can with it. And I'm not trashing any talent, any writers, any owners. I'm not, it's just that eventually, like with the Raiders, man, eventually, that run deep ball, it doesn't work anymore. You know what I mean? Like we have to try something different.
Let me read this from Seth Rollins really quick. You can only sit back and read people bashing something you love for so long and sit there and take it and try to take the high road, so to speak. I'm really proud of what I do every single week, not just Mondays, but every single Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, really. I'm real proud of what I do and what our crew does and the effort they put forward. I'm not just talking about the wrestlers, the guys and the girls who you see out in the ring. I'm talking about everybody from creative all the way up to Vince McMahon. We put a ton of effort into making a product that I think is pretty darn good considering the amount of content we put out there. The fact that people want to sit on their little soapboxes and their little stupid social media machines and talk down about it really speaks volumes about the generation and where they're at. And so I figured if somebody's going to fight back, it might as well be me since I'm the champion. I consider myself the top guy in our company.
No, and see, I think it's awesome that he's doing that. And I do think it's awesome that in the one interview, he kind of, not that he took a shot at Moxley, but he just kind of said, he's my boy. It's just this company isn't made for everybody. And that's the kind of the point that I was making a couple weeks ago. WWE is more your, listen, there's nothing wrong with, this is the ultimate argument, Josh, or this is ultimately what the argument is. What this is doing is this is the independent fan versus the WWE fan. This is the independent, like the indie guy versus the WWE bred guy. And this is giving the indie guy a reason to go, hey, go wrestle somewhere else, And I'm not saying that that's right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. I mean, that's everyone's, everyone's opinion of what they like is best. But we know that if you go through WWE first, it's now more of a launching pad than it used to be. The pinnacle where you'd want to end, right? Now you kind of want to get there to launch a career. Hell, Roman Reigns is now, and I made fun of it, but now I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to see that movie, that Hobbs and whatever. I don't know. The Fast and Furious 37. Whatever it is. Yeah, whatever, sure. But you're starting to see people like, Luke Harper was a guest star or was like a guest star in, like, I forget what TV show. So there's advantages to as much as people want to knock WWE, it opens so many doors. You know what I mean? And it's just, that's where, Josh, I even though I think that it could be improved a little bit because of the amount of talent they have, and I really mean that. I don't think they've ever had more talent than they do right now, honestly. Which should make it must see every week. Like, I shouldn't be excited about Jon Moxley and Joey Janela more than I am about most of the Stomping Grounds pay-per-view. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be. And that's just my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. And I'll admit that was a bad one to pull out because that's not really the match I'm most invested in.
For me personally, I'm not thinking about other wrestling shows when I'm watching a different company. I don't think about let's see. I'm not thinking about Nas when I'm listening to Lil Wayne or something.
Right. No, yeah, and that's also a very fair point too. Because then there's a constant comparison.
What we're craving at the end of the day is professional wrestling. It's not going anywhere. So you could watch whatever form of that is for your enjoyment. But again, you don't have to bring something down just to validate because you like a certain brand more.
You know what's funny?
And that's the thing, because I always been variety with music. I've never been just one thing and that's it.
Right.
And I'm not just a WWE guy because I spent countless hours on all these other promotions. I love wrestling in general. So the fans could try to make this a war and have fun with it on social media. Just for me personally, it's not going to change how I feel about the business because I'm going to watch professional wrestling, whether WWE's around or AEW's around. I don't care. I'm still going to watch wrestling at the end of the day. So,
because you know what this actually reminds me of, Josh? And because people want it to be this way, and I know, and everyone's going to kind of get on me about this, but I'm going to put WWE in all of its, SmackDown, Raw, NXT, NXT UK, everyone else that they work with on like one side, right? And then you take your New Japan Pro, AEW, Ring of Honor, everybody else, and kind of put them on the other side. All we're really doing is we're comparing like NFL and AFL. So for those of you, our international listeners, before there was just one like American Football League, there was the NFL, which was the National Football League, and the AFL, which was the American Football League. And then in like the late 60s, they merged and became one entity. That's why we have like two conferences and a Super Bowl, and why it's all weird to, so if you guys don't follow the NFL, you guys have no idea what I'm talking about. But Josh, this really does remind me because it's two separate styles, right? The NFL was this gritty, slowed down, in your face kind of like slugfest, right? The AFL was high scoring. It was flash. It was, this is kind of the argument. And the great part about this debate, Josh, is there is no wrong answer. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer, Right. And actually, that's why I like that not only are the performers kind of taking shots at each other, the fans, I'll admit, are taking it a little too far because they are picking sides and kind of just dying on that hill for no reason. You know what I mean?
The whole thing about Twitter and the people that still act like they're in high school, even though they're like 40 or 50 years old, like you need to get over yourself.
It's bad.
Honestly.
That's
the part of it that's embarrassing.
And can we stop with animal filters, ladies? Come on, man. We're about to go. Can we stop it? Ain't no man ever said, "Yo, you look sexy with like dog ears." You know what I mean? And if they did,
we're gonna wrap up the show this week talking about Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff taking over Raw and SmackDown. But let's do a little preview for Fyter Fest, which is coming up this Saturday.
Yes,
I'll be covering the show. This is from the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach, Florida, in cooperation with the CEO. Is that what it's called? The gaming expo that's going on?
I believe so, yeah.
All right. So, by the way, for those who want to watch the show, you can watch it for free on Bleacher Report Live or BR Live if you want to make it shorter and easier for you to figure it out. It's all the same.
What's the start time on the show there, Josh?
Let me pull this up, actually.
We come through with the details, baby.
Yes, we do. really quick, I was gonna say this. I thought Bully Ray really brought this to full circle with what we were just talking about. When we talked about this in the past, people hate watch. They don't.
Absolutely, and I agree with that too.
Totally hate watch.
Yes,
and it's. I don't get the point of it. It doesn't bother me. I just don't know what you're trying to get out of it.
I've always wondered.
I'm gonna wake up and find reason to be upset about something that I personally don't enjoy. Like, understand how stupid that sounds.
Right. Like I always say, man. Like, I don't every day go to like when I listen to Google Music, right? Like, I don't go, man. I really want to start my day with something that I hate, and then go straight to Nickelback and just pretend to, like, and then just get through a couple songs to make me real mad, like to start the morning, and then go into something I like. Like, it's You just don't do it. You just don't listen to Nickelback So but I agree. There's a lot of people that do hate watch, and I think it comes from a good place. At least I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that it's from a place where people want it to be better and are hoping that it's going to be better. But like I've always said, Josh, as much as people hate watch and they criticize the product, or they this, that, and the other thing, they still watch because what if they miss that moment, right? There's the fear of missing out. There's that what if that next moment happens and I'm right here. And I for some reason didn't watch that week. So as much as people hate watch, that's why they hate watch, and it gives them a feeling of superiority. But at the end of the day, it's really more of feeling of missing, or the fear of missing out.
All right. The buy-in 6:30 Central Time, which makes it 7:30 out in the East Coast.
Cool.
Fyter Fest starts at 8:30 Eastern on Saturday.
Oh, I like it.
So a little late night wrestling action. I'm excited to cover that. It's kind of cool to get these different styles of wrestling, and this one I think I could like literally cover one brand of wrestling and have no problem with it without doing a bunch of research on moves. I get something like a show like this, and I learn to do a bunch of wrestlers. So it's always fun to do these type of shows.
I think what's going to be fun about this show too, Josh, is this will at least, well, we're not doing a show next week, but it's going to be able to give us a better conversation to talk about when people want to, and not that you and I are comparing WWE and AEW, but the people that want them both to be equals right now, well, now you're going to kind of see a quote unquote, what would be a B pay-per-view, right? Like, because we don't know how they're doing it. Is this like this isn't obviously a major one. So it's kind of feels like a B pay-per-view, but it still feels big. So, but we don't really know, right? See, and that's the thing. I see. Look at how you're smelling. None of us really know. That's the fun part about it. Instead of everybody trying to crown a champion already, let's see how it plays. Like, I'm excited because, again, it's technically it should be considered one of their B pay-per-views. So let's see how they do. And again, it's still fresh, it's still new, it's still only their second pay-per-view, so they're going to be able to like pull out some stops and pull out some surprises and whatever. Yeah. But I think it will give us a more fair, assessment or judgment, right, of probably where they're going. Or maybe I'm wrong. I'm always wrong, so I mean, I'm probably totally wrong with this one. God damn, pal, be right.
God, 3 matches on the not the kickoff show, the buy-in show. Kylie Ray versus Leva Bates with Peter Avalon. Shh.
I totally dig that. The Librarians, by the
way. Best friends. All right, this match confuses me. I'm just going to throw this out of the way. This stipulation that comes out. Maybe you could add some context to me. With this whole thing with Tony Khan want this to be a sporting presentation, the stipulation of this thing is freaking weird. All right, best friends against SCU against Private Party. This is a 3-way tag team match. So the winner advances to All Out for an opportunity at a first round bye in the inaugural AEW World Tag Team Tournament. Here's my problem. You have one of your best teams in there, and the reason you're having this match is because you want a team to stand out, right? That's why usually the playoff formats have a first round bye. Those were the best teams, right? Baseball, the NFL, hockey, whatever. No, that's not true, because actually the cool thing about hockey, they don't care about first round buys. You have to play each other.
Gotta go and think about it. Sometimes people are tied at the end of the regular season, and in Major League Baseball, you got to play that play-in game.
Right. This was confusing. Like, why would you need an opportunity at a first round bye? Shouldn't the winner of this match already have the first round bye?
Well, no, because I think it's kind of what you said. This is an opportunity for them to maybe make a tag team because one's established, and if you can get one to kind of, although it doesn't feel like a bye, it almost feels like they keep playing just to kind of get a week off. So so it feels
like a number one contender on top of a number one contender match.
Yeah, so it's almost like a couple play-ins, like a round robin, kind of getting into the tournament. There's going to be an adjustment period. I'll admit that sounds interesting, but I think maybe once we see it, it'll make more sense. Just like the Double or Nothing. What was the 21 man? How was the 21? Whatever. Yeah, I mean, now that we've kind of experienced one, I know what to expect next time around. So I'll get it more, and they'll probably iron out some little things that didn't go right or wrong or whatever. Same thing's probably going to go with this one.
I just hope the commentary doesn't sound like a telethon this time.
Yeah.
All right, third one, Michael Nakazawa. Who doesn't love Michael Nakazawa? He's fighting Alex Jeb Bailey in a hardcore match. So
who's wrestling me? Did you say Adam Daley?
Nope.
The hell, when did I get signed? I mean, I'm gladly. I love my job, but I'm always available for bookings. Not out there.
There's a couple of barn burners. I'm looking at the match list over here. Adam Page against Jimmy Havoc versus Jungle Boy versus MGF.
I love this match.
In case you're deaf, dumb, blind, or stupid, or just in this case, completely blind, this match is gonna be insane. I'm very excited for this one. I don't think we have to do predictions yet. You could if you want, but
I think
this match is gonna be pretty freaking cool, actually.
In a weird way, I actually and maybe we're gonna test this out on the AEW side and maybe eventually get to this on the WWE side because I kind of like how we just like kind of preview it without giving predictions because I mean who the hell are we? And
we're not
maybe WWE pay-per-views when we start like previewing them might be that it might be more fun to like not even go the prediction route other than just like hey it'd be fun if this happened or that happened because at the end of the day none of us really know unless we're backstage.
Right. Let's see what else we got here on the list. Not the list of Jericho, unfortunately, if he's still listening. Christopher Daniels against Shima from Strong Hearts. That should be pretty cool.
That'd be good.
Yuka Sakazaki, Riho versus Nyla Rose 3-way match. I thought this was going to be the show where Brady Rose is fighting, but that's Fight for the Fallen, so that's the next one.
I'm interested in Riho. I don't know much about Riho, but I saw Kenny talking her up pretty good. So
I think with each of these shows they're going to do, they probably want to bring some type of surprise person for each one as they put like the finishing touches on their roster. I think most of it's already set for what it is. But I think that's something that we'll see at these shows. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Jon Moxley against Joey Janela. This is a unsanctioned match as they put it out on social media, I think yesterday or this morning. So yeah, this one should be pretty nasty.
Real quick, Josh, before you go on, can I say this?
Go ahead.
And this is the difference, just a little tweaking and listening to your audiences. When Joey Janela first started on being the Elite, it was like I couldn't stand him. I'm not gonna lie, and it wasn't. I actually like Joey Janela a lot in the ring. Like he's a really fun watch. But I was like, this is the dumbest segment every week. It was just so. But now look what he's doing with Moxley, like the pro. You know what I mean? And you're right. They couldn't get that on TV, or maybe in different hours, maybe because there's some. Let's face it, with the Firefly Funhouse, there's been some imagery that I'm surprised they're able to sneak in. Yeah. So
I think they get the balancing out with the kid music, like
right. But I think this shows though that kind of like listening to your audience, like Joey Janela has a hell of a future ahead of him, and in a way the promos that they try, and listen, no fault for trying them, but they just weren't clicking. They caught on early and were able to adjust, And now I went from like, oh god, like Joey Janela to like I'm very interested in this match. I was watching the promo video for it today and was totally digging it.
Cody Rhodes against Darby Allin. I'd never seen Darby wrestle in person. I heard he's pretty good, so
Darby Allin's wrestling here in Pittsburgh pretty soon. And I should promote this because Corey Graves is going to be there. His brother Sam Adonis is wrestling. There's a lot of great talent going. It's going to be there. Yeah, I'm thinking about going down there. But it's if you're in the Pittsburgh area or want to be, check it out. It's not like the dude at the end of Jerry Springer. If you're in the Chicago area, want free tickets.
Oh, look at Derek. He says, "Oh, I'm still listening. I have to write up your performance evaluations. I've been waiting one from last year, brother Carter. What the hell?"
Still listening. He's sharpening up his blades and like packaging up like duct tape. You know.
Oh God. All right, the main event this show.
On its skin.
The main event for this show. This one's gonna be pretty crazy. The Elite against Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid. This probably be the last Young Bucks and Lucha Brother match for a while. I know they had their match at AAA's last pay-per-view, and the Young Bucks lost the tag titles to the Lucha Brothers. So, yeah, I'm excited for this match. It's a nice little attraction match. You get some AAA in there, and you get AEW against each other at this big old gaming convention. So I think it's cool. 6-man tag team matches. This will be a lot of spots, so it's gonna be hard for me to get everything down, but it should be pretty good.
This will be one where you'll want to just sit back and kind of just enjoy it.
Yeah. Laredo Kid's really good too. I've seen him wrestle a couple times on Lucha and Impact. That guy is good. Very, very good. So that's Fyter Fest coming up this Saturday. Again, you can watch it free on BR Live at 7:30 for the buy-in show and 8:30 for the main show on Saturday nights. So,
now, is this the one that Jericho and Fozzy are?
Yes.
Okay, so Jericho's coming in probably and taking out Kenny at one point. Or no, he wouldn't have to. No, I would probably take out Hangman, right? Because it's him versus Hangman for the championship at All Out. So
yeah.
I mean, do they start with the mind games now, or
unless he goes and attacks Moxley and they fight at the Fight for Fallen show? I don't know if Moxley already has a match for that yet, but we'll see. Here's
the only thing that I want to not happen at this AEW event this weekend. Is I want because it's Excalibur, right, on the announce team.
Yes, the match. Yeah,
I would love. And listen, I think he's I do think he's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I just think once a show he reaches way too far. Like it Double or Nothing, it was like I just think the Judas effect isn't even real. I think it was just invented. It was just made up. And then like the one before was like it was I think it was from All In. When Marty was still going for the junior heavyweight championship, and like he was talking about being a heavyweight, he's like, I think he's gonna win it and just advocate the championship, just throw it away, and because he's a heavyweight, not a villain. And it's like, come on, man, like you're reaching way too far sometimes. Like it just sounds almost fanboyish. I'm obviously teasing, but everyone wants little criticisms here and there. There's my criticism on that side.
Always the funny thing with commentary, especially Michael Cole. You could be a debuting guy, and 2 weeks later at a pay-per-view. Classic Leo Rush.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Classic Josh Lopez.
Classic Adam Daley.
Vintage Lopez. But listen, I'll say this about. I'm sorry. We're going to AEW. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, how did you feel about the announcement yesterday about Evolve having their 10th anniversary show on the network?
I think it's amazing. I think it's totally cool. I've always thought anytime you can put more eyes on any wrestling product, it's only good for not only us as wrestling fans, it's good for the wrestling business, it's good for the art form of wrestling, it's good. It's just good. This is just a great, think about that. Evolve is being aired on the WWE network. That is like, and I don't want to say minor leagues, guys, because that makes it sound bad, but that is kind of like, AAA baseball finally getting on ESPN. And I know that's a bad example, guys, and I know you get that's going to rub some people the wrong way, but it's somewhat of people love comparisons. There you go. Don't ask.
I'm still trying to get over the conversation we had last week about OJ being on Twitter. That's still
it's such a scary place. Like I'm afraid he's going to come after his big giant head is going to come after like my Twitter profile. Well, listen, when it's going to be like the Thanos snap, when you start seeing accounts get deleted. It's OJ just killing accounts. Like, not to people, but it's going to be the OJ account killing accounts. And OJ's account's going to be the first time that artificial intelligence takes over. And this is where this is Cyberdyne, and it's all through OJ Simpson. He was reprogrammed in prison. And now I sound just as crazy as some of the idiots in the wrestling Twitter cylinder every week when they think they're fantasy booking a show. However, with all of that being said, I still think OJ has been reprogrammed is like the T-1500, just really weak. And with a terrible alibi, allegedly.
Now they got a Dennis Rodman 30 for 30. That's going to be 2 hours.
It'll be really interesting, though.
Yeah. I met him before. He's an interesting cat.
I say love him or hate him. Rodman's one I'll never hate on because, again, I mean, the North Korea stuff's questionable, but so we can maybe question that. But he knew how to market himself. He knew how to get out. I mean, and he admittedly has had some personal struggles to deal with and stuff like that. So, no, I'll never hate on Rodman. Definitely be afraid to drink with him or have dinner with him, but I've never hate on him.
Man. Shout out to the people in Dallas, Texas next week. Think about this. On Monday, you got Monday Night Raw. Saturday, you got the G1 in the same building, right? And on that Sunday is Impact Wrestling's Slammiversary pay-per-view. If you're a wrestling fan, I don't know if it gets better than that. 3 different companies with 3 big shows like that. I mean, go knock your socks off.
Right, yeah, agreed. And see, that's the thing for everybody that complains that wrestling's this, the business is dead, or that, dude, there's so much wrestling. Kaiju Big Battle is, I think, in either I just missed it or it's maybe in a couple days or something. But Kaiju Big Battle is in Pittsburgh.
I went to a Kaiju battle show in San Jose. Those shows are insane.
Yeah, Ace from the Ace and Briscoe show. He's been the Kaiju Big Battle. He's tried to get me to go to some, and so I wanted to go. It's crazy times and stuff, so I totally forgot about it. Plus, it's like a 21 and up thing. It's definitely not something I'm taking my daughter to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's like, you know what I mean? Like certain concerts, like I wouldn't take her to see Tool yet. I mean, there's lines, there's certain lines you don't cross, but
she'll get there eventually.
Yeah, eventually she'll see a big giant turkey sandwich, body or frog splash, dinosaur for some reason. Like I don't even know what goes on in Kaiju Big Battle. I just know I need to see it.
Yeah, a dinosaur is gonna do a code red off the boxes,
right? Yeah,
with a tiger under him. Oh God. All right. Last thing we were talking about today. Oh, by the way, I know SmackDown's in San Antonio, so shout out to Charles Barkley because he always has the funny jokes about women in San Antonio and eating churros and stuff. If you haven't watched the compilation of San Antonio ripping, if you haven't seen the compilation of Charles Barkley ripping San Antonio, it's the funniest thing in those sit-down panels that they do for all these sports shows, sports games and stuff. It's pretty funny. I think a lot of the stuff like the sit down pregame and postgame shows for a lot of these sports are overproduced and like it's not fun to watch. But Charles Barkley finds a way to make me laugh. So
he's great. He's got a fantastic sense of humor.
I love the one that he had with the whole Joshie Smollett thing, and this hits home because it happened here, right? So they had this board, and they said this is like the thing Charles Barkley said that wouldn't happen. So they test him on it, right? Like they're just checking on how he's doing with that. So for example, he would say, "Oh, the Lakers were going to make the playoffs," and then they're trying to find out what new things to put on the board. And it's like, what wouldn't happen? He's like, 2 black guys beating another black guy up and framing crimes with checks and this and that. It's freaking hilarious.
He gave one of the best takes about the Joshie Smollett situation. I think he was on. I want to say he was on Stephen Colbert, and it was right after it happened. And I think I encourage people to go watch it. I think it was a very fair assessment, not only of what Joshie Smollett, how it affected the LGBTQ community, but how it affected the black community and how it affected the police, how it affected basically everybody but Joshie Smollett somehow. You know what I mean? It made life worse for everybody except he's going to get banned from Hollywood for 5 years and he'll have some sob story and come back. Big deal at this point. You know, it's that's kind of the frustrating point about the Jussie Smollett situation.
I don't know why you had to do my city like that. I know how shady the Chicago police is.
Dirty, but you know what?
You're gonna try to pin a crime on yourself by using a check. Come on, man.
You know, I didn't even know people still use checks. I just people's stupidity level is through the roof. But I do want to say this, man, and like me and you had a brief conversation about it. We're gonna get right back to wrestling. People worldwide might not, you know, some of our international audience might not really connect with this, but if you live here in our state, you know how big of a deal this is. Your state, my friend, and I apparently was there a year too early, but your state has just passed recreational marijuana statewide. Right. This is all I'm gonna say. When crime in your state goes down, and I'm not, you know, saying like, you know, everyone who wants to use Chicago, even though it's like, I think 18th or 19th in the country now, it's not even like anywhere in the top, you know, anywhere near the top 5 or whatever. But when you start to see crime go down in Illinois, all over the place, you're going to start to see marijuana legalized recreationally nationwide. I really believe, man, that you guys are being used as a big, and I hate to keep saying litmus test, but your state is the perfect example of a state that if crime goes down, if it brings in the tax money that it is projected to, and if not even more. I mean, now you've gone from the you know, and I hate to say it like this, but right now they're you know, the country kind of looks at it as it works in the white states, but will it work in the urban states? You know what I mean? And that's, I hate to say it, nobody else will, but I'll say it because I'll say the things that everyone else is afraid to say. So now it is going to be one where it is going to be in a very big, you know, more of an urban environment. And when crime goes down, brother, what happens? The proof's going to be in the pudding, baby.
Yeah.
That's, I mean.
There's another thing that happened the other day that kind of messes up what the celebration of today is. I don't know if you saw this or not. Punk filed another lawsuit against Cabana, which is very ironic with the promo that he cut in Vegas 8 years ago today.
This is where... Man, I love Punk, but I'm staying out of that one. It's like that South Park.
We don't have to get into that.
It's like the South Park where Timmy and Jimmy are joining the Crips. I'm staying out of this one.
Right. All right. Last question, brother, man. Before we head out here, what do you think? Possibly, like, what's your thoughts with Bischoff and Heyman? The news that came out this morning about them being second directors.
Fantastic, dude. You want to talk added value to a company, because ultimately, like you said, okay, like let's talk brand recognition, right? We think branding. Right now, when you talk about a brand that the only knock, and I want to give you this point, Josh, the only knock right now that you really hear about WWE is Raw and SmackDown. You know, people don't knock the pay-per-views, people don't knock NXT, people don't knock, it's Raw. That's really the only complaint about their Saudi relationship I don't like, but that's for a different time. Now, that being said, though, when you bring in two highly intelligent individuals that not only know how to connect with a crowd, not only they understand, they have their finger on pop culture, they have their finger on what people want, they have their finger on just the pulse of the audience at hand, even on any given night. And you know, and again, I encourage people to please go watch the little Paul Heyman thing, and not because it's CM Punk based, but it's just the brilliance of Paul Heyman to say, listen, let me take the power out of the fans' hands so that you can have your show. You know, and I think that is going to be not only added value for the creative process of the show, but think about it, dude. Like, and this is where it comes in. Like, if you're, it doesn't matter if you're in the indies or if you're a bodybuilder somewhere or you're a model somewhere or whatever, and you're thinking about going to WWE, you know, you can argue that Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman are two of the most influential people in the history of the business. Are you telling me that you wouldn't want to be underneath their tutelage? Like, absolutely, you know? So I think that no matter which way you slice this, whether it was done to keep them there, whether it was done, you know why the earth was round, right? So they can keep us here. So I know the flat earthers aren't real. But no, I do think that this in a myriad of different ways, this could pay off in spades. This is an investment for future investments to keep breeding those generations after generations, and not have that main man or woman or person or whomever. You can have multiple top superstars, because that's where we're at right now, Josh. You know what I mean? Like we're at a stage where we need and should have multiple stars, not just the one or two that they choose to give us. And I think that would kind of quiet a lot of the criticisms that we do here. You know, guys like Balor being underutilized, guys like, you know, whether that's fair, foul, or not, you know, I mean, he's an Intercontinental champ. How underutilized is he really, you know? But at the same time, that's an argument, right? So, but these are things that they'll hear and they'll understand. And I think, and whether or not it whatever it means, think about just the promo work that might happen now, you know, just being able to say, listen, okay, this is what Vince wants. Let me tell you how to really get your emotions into it. Like they're watching Paul Heyman, just him and Alexa Bliss. Like I said, I know I keep going back.
I haven't got to see it yet. I have to watch it.
Dude, I can't wait for you to see it. Two quick things about that. Number one, I love that she got it right out of the way, because too many people hide behind it, or like Nikki Bella was kind of like, I don't want to say she was whining about it, but it was like, I'm glad that Alexa Bliss said, all right, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. I had implants when I was 17. The poor girl had eating disorder. She was almost died. I mean, you know, love or hate or whatever, you can have your own personal opinion. You know, that's part of like, you know, could have saved her life. So the fact that she addressed it right away and just got it like boom out of the way, I give her a ton of credit for, because that's something that typically is either danced around or you play the victim card, or you know, and she didn't. She owned it like a boss and moved on. But there is something, dude, in that way. You'll see it. And I think you'll see what I mean. Like Heyman just looks, you could tell that he looks so natural and probably enjoys just being able to see that next superstar. Not that she's like that, you know, but just helps just make sure that the lines are there, and how are you going to keep the crowd engaged on every line that you have. You know, and Bischoff's the same. Like these are two great wrestling minds, two great business minds, two great things. This is what you want around, you know, around a support system. Yeah, ultimately. What are your thoughts on it?
I love me some Alexa Bliss. You know that, brother, already.
Dude, the 365 was awesome. I thought it was awesome. My daughter loved it. I loved it. I thought it was really well done. She has a very interesting story, and I mean, she's a lot of respect for her.
I'll definitely watch it tomorrow. I got some free time before I gotta cover Impact. By the way, folks, especially for Impact Wrestling, here's my suggestion for you. Especially when SmackDown goes to Fox in the fall, move your show to Tuesday at 7:00 and stop doing shows at 9 p.m. Central Time, please. It's not anything for me personally, because I'm not a guy that goes on clubs every single week, but even then I like to enjoy my weekend not doing articles at that late at night. Come on, man.
I hate going to club, man.
I'm not a club person. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that makes me anti-social. I don't care. I'm not a club dude.
I told you last time I went out with one of my boys, and it's maybe about a month ago or something like that. Went out a month or two ago. I don't know, whatever. I looked around at dudes, way too tight polos, way too tight, and they were all drinking Zima, and they had these stupid sunglasses on, and I was like, "Yep, I'm not supposed to be here," because I don't like time traveling back to 1998, 1999. You know what I mean? I like being present in future. But yeah. So and again, Zima, really, we're going backwards. And not for the right reasons. Who the hell's handpicked Zima to make a comeback? Crystal Pepsi? Come on, bring it on. I want more. More of that. Zima? Ugh.
All right. All right.
It's the first thing I got drunk off of, so I'm not gonna knock it too hard. I didn't drink till it was like almost 21. It was like right before my 21st birthday.
All right, this is what I was going to say about the Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff thing. I thought Bully Ray brought this up really good today. Like, any good winner or people that deal in war, they're always good when they're able to associate with people that are equivalent to them from a different territory.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't see anything that's wrong with Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman reporting to him. So I can only see good things out of it, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
What was I gonna say? Oh, they did mention that Eric Bischoff will be like a liaison from an executive side with dealing with Fox and stuff. So that's cool, man.
Dude, and I think that's important because he has a TED Talk that everybody should check out. Connecting, I don't even want to give it away, it's a really fascinating TED Talk that you definitely should check out. It does connect, media, business, wrestling, and when you watch it, you realize it's just like I said. I read his book, and it's funny because we sit back and we think that we see these characters and the characters they portrayed, and it's why I'll never say a bad thing about Vince Russo either, because he was so good to me. I mean, he was so good to my family and stuff like that, and even my ex-wife. I mean, he was fantastic to her. So I'll never hate on Vince Russo or anything that his opinions are just that. He treated me excellently. On the flip side, I've never obviously met Eric Bischoff, but I have an immense amount of respect for his viewpoint on things, his business strategies, his just his vision, and him being able to kind of stay a couple steps ahead. Even I don't know. I have a hell of a lot of respect for Eric Bischoff. So and Heyman. I mean, I've talked Heyman up enough on here. I don't think I have to go down that route anymore. So dude, this actually is, especially with Bischoff on the Fox side of things, because of his business acumen. I do think that this is really going to pay off in spades for WWE. And guys, and this is what's weird, Josh, is now they're kind of not in a growing period, but they kind of are in some sort of in a way in like a transitional period, right?
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
We were saying that at WrestleMania 35, right? Like, this is going to be kind of the next 5 years. What we get from, this is going to be the next 5 years of kind of, it's almost like they go in like 5-year cycles, right? And everything surrounding WrestleMania 35, not only the intro, all the world of stage, we were just the players, just the way that they were talking, like this is entertainment now. It was almost like, hey, this is where we're going to be. And if them bringing in two fantastic minds like that are going to put them back to where it silences at least half the critics, then they're already ahead of where they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You know what I mean? And that's ultimately what it is, Josh. It's just silencing idiotic critics. And if anybody's criticizing these moves, I'd question their business acumen.
Right. By the way, I need more Sami Zayn ripping of the Nimrods. I like to see a little bit more of that.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it. By the way, the last thing I'll say this week before we wrap up the show, you want equivalent of what wrestling Twitter looks like? Look at the calamity at these political event debate shows, whatever you want to call it, in Miami right now.
I can't.
And the other side of the fence, I'm not Republican or Democratic, but all the debates and all this stuff for the 2020 election is going to be a freaking physical calamity. It's going to be horrible.
I'm pretty sure I'm running for president at this point, right? I don't know. There's
even Derek's running for president.
There's 416 Democrats running right now. You know what I mean? I probably slipped in somewhere. I don't know. Dude, it's too much. I can't. I just can't. I can't do it. Listen, real quick on the entertainment side. I got to look up what the actual name of the show is, but listen, HBO subscribers, rejoice, be funny, have some fun. Danny McBride got a new show coming out with John Goodman's in it, Adam Devine's in it. It's called like the something gemstones, or like the righteous gemstones, or something like that. But then they got Watchmen coming out this fall too. So HBO is actually kind of building up their lineup again to fill in that Game of Thrones void that they're gonna have to fill in. So looks like they got some shows coming, and I think Glow premieres in a couple days. So Netflix users, keep your eyes out for that.
We'll be talking about Glow a lot on the show coming up soon, so be on the lookout for that, guys. All right, folks. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out the show this week. Shout out to Brother Carter for sending us.
No, don't give him a shout out. He doesn't get a shout out till his punk ass appears on this show and not in a chat room somewhere. You know what I mean? It's real easy, keyboard warrior. You know, for somebody that claims that, CM Punk fans are just keyboard warriors, the shit behind us, you're doing the same thing. Put your nuts on the table. They're Canadian nuts. They're maple, and we get it. Or the table's maple, or whatever. But, bring it to the table, man.
Bring it to the table, pal. Shout out to Nick for the UK for interacting with us.
Yeah, it was cool. Nick got to interact live.
Pretty cool, especially for how late it is his time right now. So shout out to him. And shout out to AJ, of course, every single week through the eyes of a 9-year-old. One of the best segments in all podcasting. And he said, "Oh hell no, Daley! Now you're putting words in my mouth. Just for that, I am coming back very soon. Count on it." That's awesome.
Yo, he sounds just like OJ, man. That's what I mean. Run, bitch. Sounds exactly like OJ. I came back
All
for
right,
vengeance.
we gotta wrap it now. All right, for the Clown Prince of Podcasting, I'm Joshie. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast, Instagram, Joshie Lopez 94. Make sure to follow Adam on Instagram at AdamDaley13. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hope you enjoyed the Hoots Podcast. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy Fyter Fest. We're going to be off next week, but we should be back July 11th. Will be our next show, all right? So for the Clown Prince, I'm Joshie. Thank you guys so much for checking out episode 162 of the Hoots Podcast. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.